Hello everybody! Welcome to Friday with Dannphan, our weekly show, except when it's cancelled. How is everybody doing this week? I hope it's been good. I hope it's been all positive things happening in your life. We had 3 whole days of sun, and immediately afterwards, just another week of rain. What can you say? It's spring. It's that spring weather. And now that we've gotten over the talking about the weather portion of the stream, it's time to transition to shilling for my comic campaign because got bad news for you guys. It's only 7 days left on the Kickstarter. And that's it. Only 7 more days, and that's all for the Kickstarter. I mean, there will be the option to back on Fund My Comic, but if you don't have a Fund My Comic account, and if you don't want to make a Fund My Comic account, you're shit out of luck, as they say, because there's only 7 days. There's only 7 days, and it's going to be gone. Everybody's going to have their copy, and they're going to be like, yeah, I was here at the beginning of the series. This is my first edition copy to prove it. You're not going to have first edition copy. You're just going to be like, oh man, all I have are the digital PDFs. I wasn't here during the beginning of the Reaper series. I was behind everybody else. I don't know how to sell this thing, man. Give me a break. I'm not good at marketing. That's my thing. I can be entertaining enough for video, and people claim I'm entertaining on the live streams, but I'm not very good at marketing. So just buy it. What do you want me to say? Alright, guys. And that concludes our shilling portion of the stream. Let's get into reading some comments. Oh, we got $2 from Mandcarry. I'm working, but keep fighting. Will do. I'm fighting hard, trying to bust out the first chapter of Reaper Book 2, which is actually Chapter 7, if you count, of course, the first volume chapters. I'm very close to being done, and then I'll have that posted on the Subscribe Star. If you have the first reader tier on Subscribestar, you get to read it beforehand, before the entire book is done and shipped out. You can just be reading it as the chapters are being made. That's the fun thing about Subscribestar. You get to read ahead of time. It's not even that much money. It's not even that much. It's completely worth it. Trust me. Would I lie to you? Do I appear biased? But yeah, I also just recently uploaded, I guess not that recently, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I uploaded a short comic, which is also dark fantasy, on Subscribestar, and that is free to read for anyone who has the good first reader tier. Eventually I'm thinking maybe I should use that short story somewhere else. I just haven't really figured out where to put it, if I should have it in a compilation or whatever. But yeah, you can read Claire's Flower. And pretty soon I'll have Chapter 7 of Reaper also posted on the Subscribestar this month. I'm thinking the week coming up, not like the weekend, but like the next week. I should have everything squared away. I'm pretty confident. So, let's go. Been a long week. Save us from boredom. Gosh, I'll do my best. Phew, finally got through this week. It felt like it just went on forever. Yeah, sometimes it really do be like that. Hey, Ishka, what's up? Captain Hyrule question. Can Toad Man take a vacation? Toad Man. I don't know. Don't know about that one. Freighter CR, we are good at pretending you're a born entertainer. Thanks. I do my bestest. Yeah. I have a very funny YouTube channel. I don't mean that as in I'm funny on my YouTube channel. What I mean is it's funny how my YouTube channel performs. I am known as being that girl who occasionally just gets a random viral video every now and then. That's me. That's me. I don't know what exactly causes it. I assume it's just usually when something is relevant or controversial, that's the video that takes off. So a lot of people would recommend that I only make that content from now on, and I just don't. Perhaps this is a mistake on my part, but you know, you do what you do, and you just hope it works out. I enjoy doing the read-throughs for the most part. I like raising awareness on what comics are actually being made for children out there, especially the YA section. I feel like YA needs a complete overhaul. I hate YA content now. It's usually fine in manga, right? But American YA content is insane. Genuinely. Insanity. And should be looked at. Should be looked at, to say the least. But the DC YA comics are obviously very fun read-throughs, despite the insanity. I think it raises awareness of the insanity, but it's also just a good time to laugh at the cringe. Naturally. Let's see. For your information, Toadman is a robot master from Mega Man who can generate rainfall. Oh, I see. That's what you mean, because I mentioned the rain. Yes. Yes, take a vacation, please. I don't perform very well in the rain. Rain makes me tired. Adam claims it has an opposite effect on him. It invigorates him. He likes the rain. I don't like the rain. Rain makes me tired. It also makes me sleep in, because naturally it's darker outside when it's cloudy, and you just don't know when it's morning. So that happens. Anyway, so big thing, I guess the only big thing that happened this particular week is we got an Ironheart trailer. So, as you can tell by the stream title, yeah, I'm going to take a look at this and see what we're dealing with exactly. And I guess I should give maybe a little bit of context as to my thoughts on Ironheart. Let's see. That's an interesting topic. What do people mean when they say all art is political? Are they implying that artists and writers can only be influenced by politics? So I think a much more accurate term is to say all art has a narrative, but it doesn't have to be explicitly a political narrative. Although a lot of people would argue any opinion is technically political, or any opinion can be political if it just inserts itself into politics. Yes, it's a little bit more nuanced, of course, because a lot of our politics that we have today are based on just people having varying opinions on how the world should be run, and how laws should be, and how the world is, and how it exists, and how we perceive things. It gets deep, right? But I don't think all art has to be explicitly reflective of our politics, but it does use somewhat of a narrative. Every artist is trying to achieve something, or to deliver a message with their art. It doesn't have to be vote my politics or anything like that. It could be something as simple as spend time with your family, or laugh more, or, you know, there are different messages besides just explicitly political messages. But there are people out there who would argue that any opinion on anything is a political opinion. And that's kind of the general idea behind that. But yes, there are a lot more nuances to the whole all art is political debate. People take it too far in too many directions. All right. Let me see what we got here. So there it is, Ironheart trailer. Have you guys watched anyone else react to this so far? I watched a couple people give their thoughts on the Ironheart trailer. Let's see, I watched Drinker, and I also watched Jay Longbone, although I wasn't really paying as much attention to her video. The funny thing about her video is just that in the thumbnail, or maybe in the title, I confuse the two very often because, you know, thumbnails now basically serve as the title with the text in it. She was saying, even I have black fatigue, and she's a black woman, so very funny, obviously. But yeah. Let's see. Got a couple more people chiming in on this, so let's just cover that first. The idea that art in itself is a political act. People who have made politics their life and want everything to be political say everything is political. Yeah, obviously, there's that one, what is it, Anita Sarkeesian from the whole Gamergate fiasco, where she's like, everything is sexist and you have to point it out. The idea that you must figure out ways to claim that everything around you is sexist. That's obviously a very bad mindset, and you don't want to fall into that mindset, because it just makes you, as a person, miserable, and also insane. You know, it's just an insane thing to do. But you know, let's see. I think that they mean that because the artist's personal views are reflected in their art, it will always be political, because their general views are linked to their political views. That's very well worded. Okay. Never even knew this trailer existed. Well, it's new. It just came out recently. Let's see, what's the date? 2 days ago. It's number 17 on trending. So I have, I guess, a more complicated relationship with Ironheart. I obviously, it's a very Marvel, very modern superhero thing to create some sort of spin-off character based on a pre-existing superhero character. So Ironheart is supposed to be like the spin-off character of Iron Man. It's just another Iron Man. But the part that I've always found like kind of interesting from it is the idea that she is a teenage kind of Iron Man. And that's about it. I find the idea of a teenager going out after school to fight criminals in a mech in of itself fun. It's a fun idea. Does it need to be attached to Iron Man? No. But that idea alone originally is what kind of sold me on to wanting to like Ironheart, but they never capitalize on that idea. They never use what was the selling point for me. Even in this show, I don't even think in this show they have her even in high school. I think she's a college student. I could be wrong. I guess we'll find out when we watch the trailer. And, you know, they just made her mean. In the comics itself, they just make her kinda mean. And more so leaning on the side of, I'm a criminal, I'm a bad bitch, and I'm not into that. But if it was just a cool story, if it was just a cool story, but if it was a neat story of some teenager, you know, after school just fighting criminals in a mech, that would be very fun. That would just be a very fun idea. They don't do that. People talk about the whole Superhero Academy or Wizard Academy type of stories, and that is a little bit of a... It's a cliche to a point where it's become its own genre. And I don't have a problem with that genre, but I also find a lesser tapped genre that I really enjoy is the idea of teenagers, high schoolers who are superheroes in secret doing superhero work while doing high school on the side. They used to be very common during like the early 2000s, and then they just vanished. When the world needed him most, he vanished, right? But I want to see a return to that genre because I really like it. I like it. I grew up around it. I think other people like it too. Shows like Danny Phantom, Kim Possible, American... Well, I guess Kim Possible wasn't doing it in secret. People knew. But American Dragon, right? Static Shock. All generally fit that genre, and I really enjoyed it. Tragically, Ironheart kind of doesn't really fit there. But when they were originally trying to sell this character, that was how they were selling it to people like me. And then I look into it, and then I'm just disappointed. And she's mean and a criminal, and yeah. I'm with you right there, Mossive. I wish Ironheart was good. It's just not the reality of which we live in. Why, of all things, bring into live action form? Why Ironheart? You know, I understand Ironheart a lot more than Dreamer being in live action. Do you guys remember when I did the DC YA read-through of Bad Dream, a Dreamer story? I've never heard of Dreamer before reading that YA. I knew that she had a short story also in the DC Pride month, which I also read on the channel, and it was not good, but you know, neither was the YA. And I think she probably had some other debut that I just don't know about, that, you know, it's far from my... But apparently that character also has a live action show? I didn't know about that, but apparently that is a thing. I understand Ironheart a lot more than I understand that, because nobody knows who the fuck Dreamer is. What are you doing? Anyway. Alright, well, we've done enough ranting. Let's, I'm gonna have to keep on pausing this video. I'll warn you ahead of time, because I know people sometimes get annoyed, like, just watch the trailer. I have to keep pausing it, because it's gonna copyright me. I mean, even regardless, it might still be copyrighted on the live stream. We'll see how it goes, but I'll do my best to make sure that we can get through it. Other people are talking about this too. I never find it to be like a good flex when you're like, oh, look at, we got the director from this other movie. Look, look at their resume. It's like, I don't care what their resume is. Gotta be honest, like, I didn't even watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I don't know if the directing is good. Apparently it got bad reviews, so why are you, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, anyway. I don't really find it to be that big of a flex. Hello? Shut off lips. For real.
Welcome, Riri. In less than 3 minutes, the air in this elevator will no longer be breathable.
Oh, what is this? Why did she even go in the elevator? It's like the most shady elevator ever. Nobody's there. Nobody's telling her to go in the elevator. By choice, she goes into it. It's so ancient, too. Doesn't it look like this elevator came from fucking Saw or something? Ah, well, it is what it is. Yeah, that's a good point. From the creator of insert Marvel product people hated here. Sometimes it works on me. Well, if they say, like, from the creator of Evil Dead or something like that, then I'm like, ooh! But when they're saying, like, oh, director of this film, or, I don't know, fucking... What's from the editor of from the editor of Jurassic Park, the same person who edited the movie. Yay! You know, it's like, if it's a good creation, maybe. Fair enough. I mean, like, if it's a notable creation, maybe. I feel like overall, top priority should be the video clips within the trailer should be the biggest selling point. You know? But, yeah.
You're interleading. You'll suffocate and die unless you break into the device on the floor, where you'll find a gas mask. Good luck.
Screw this.
What was the point of doing the hot wiring? What did that do? What did that do? Okay, so she's breaking the glass, and I assume that's to stop the elevator. Which in of itself would let you open the door. Oh, is this supposed to be like what's causing the gas? It looks like a bomb, so this whole scene is kind of confusing, not gonna lie.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius.
Ah, she's so smart. I love it when a character is supposed to be smart, and in order to establish this, they tell you that the character is supposed to be smart. Over and over. Ah, you're a smart character, huh? I hear you're really smart. Ah, look at this girl. She's smart. She got straight A's. Did you know that, audience? She got straight A's and she's smart. She's really smart. Guys, stop. That main character's really smart. We gotta tell you this, because you'll never figure it out otherwise. Writing.
So you in or out?
Yes. It's always a good intro into a character when some random stranger is handing the main character, who's supposed to be a hero, money and saying, "Are you in and out?" Also, yes, of course, they're using some sort of hip-hop rap music. That's just kind of par for the course at this point. We know it's always coming. We always know it's coming. Yeah. Live or die, make your choice. Yeah, there it is. Is this a sequel to Sneakerella? I don't know, man. I never saw Sneakerella, but that was a really strange one, wasn't it? Alright. Let's keep going. We're not even halfway through the trailer yet, so maybe they'll do something else.
Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
You are not the first genius at MIT.
Aw, did you hear that? The teacher said she's a genius. He said that she's a genius because we gotta make sure the audience knows that she's smart, but she's not the only genius. She's not special. That's her... Ah, that's a shame. She's not being acknowledged for her greatness because she's told that she's not a special genius. That's the character arc that we're being introduced to in the trailer. Is her great struggle is that she's a genius, but not special over all the other geniuses. Not good enough then, huh? Look at this. I got into this great college. I'm recognized as a genius, but I'm not a special genius, so it's not enough.
How come you're not working at one of those fancy tech firms?
After my internship abroad, I want to build something undeniable. Something
Important?
iconic.
It's a brand new
I can give you the tools to help you carry out.
That's right. She was in one of the Marvel movies, right? She was in Wakanda Forever. Like I said, I didn't watch it, so. But I think somebody else mentioned, because we saw a flashback here where she's in Wakanda, and she says, like, internship overseas. So why doesn't Wakanda fund her Iron Man knockoff research? You gotta wonder, right? Like, couldn't they hook her up with something? Why would they deny her? Like, why is she going to this shady character to get funds? Do they not trust her? Did she fuck up? I don't know. I think it's a little bit strange that her big thing here is that she wants to create something iconic. Why? What? I don't know what she means by that. You know, like a lot of superheroes, when we're introduced to them becoming a superhero, what they usually say is, oh, I want to change the world. I want to make the world a better place. She's saying, I want to create something iconic. So it's like kind of focused on this idea that she wants credit, she wants to be recognized for being so awesome, she wants to be like unique and special, despite the fact that she's making a knockoff of Iron Man's suit. But that does seem to be the ongoing theme of the trailer itself. So, you know, it's not a good way to introduce someone who's supposed to be an actual hero. They made her give out a very vain vibe. That does summarize what I was trying to say very well. Pretty sure I heard people talk about her, so I knew this was coming eventually. Yeah. Yeah, it seems so much. Alright. Okay, a little bit more than halfway done the trailer. Let's see what's going on here. I assume, like, shady character... If I am to guess what the plot of this is going to be, I assume that the shady character is going to trick her into creating this Iron Man suit weapon, right? And then he's going to try to take it from her? Or something? Or they're going to try to use it for evil or something, right? They're like using her intelligence to build the weapon and then they're going to double cross her. That is my assumption. That should probably be her assumption. If she was as smart as this trailer thinks that she is, right? Not that I'm not saying smart people can't be tricked. If she is actually supposed to be this very vain, arrogant person that the trailer is letting her on to be, then that could be, like, reasonable to assume that she could be, like, tricked by just pure flattery. Like, people flatter her, and then she's able to overlook these glaring red flags because she's more focused on what she wants and not so much the whole logic of the whole operation here. But let's see.
Your vision.
But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life...
Did they just... Okay, we have security guards here and like a bunch of like, what, young teenagers? They go in with the batons. Why would you go into a knife fight with a baton? Okay, maybe security guards, maybe they don't have guns. Sure, shouldn't they at the very least, have a taser or pepper spray? Like, if I saw someone with a knife, I would want to keep them as far away from me as possible. You'd want to use something long range, right? Like, you should be backing up and, like, pulling out the pepper spray or something. But, you know, for these types of, street leveler type of superhero shows, you hardly ever see security guards ever use pepper spray. I guess because writers think it's kind of silly if you put the vigilantes in this scenario. If you put them in a scenario where they have to, like, get pepper sprayed and they're like, ah, fuck my eyes, maybe they think it looks too silly. I don't know. But yeah, not very smart. Not very smart security guards here. Take out the... Someone's attacking you with a knife and you go towards them? No, that's not smart.
Anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done.
Well, obviously evil guys.
What will you do, Riri?
What the fuck is going on here? Okay, she gets paid to make the Iron Man knockoff suit. Why did you throw the money in the air and dance in it? Okay. Once again, we're portraying the main character as being very arrogant, very vain. So this is not putting her in a very good light. Maybe that's the point. Maybe she learns her lesson by the end of the series. But if you want to sell people on the series itself, you should focus on making her seem at least somewhat likable. Yeah, could vanity to heroism be her hero's journey? Unless the hero's journey was done in Wakanda Forever. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch Wakanda Forever. But it does seem like this character needs some work if they want to make her likable or redeemable. For sure. Like I said, my ongoing theory is that this person, this obviously evil person giving her the money, is going to betray her. And then she's going to be like, oh man, I was, you know, so selfish and so caught up in I'm so arrogant, and I should have humbled myself, you know, I should have tried to pass the marshmallow test and not gone for something that was instant gratification. But you know. Why is it whenever they have an evil character, they need to have a hood that they take off? I can see his face very clearly before he takes off the hood.
Riri?
There's just no point. Like, I can see his face. What's the point of taking off the hood? What's the reveal there? The obvious evil guy is evil. I need to reveal myself. Let me put on a hood so that I can take it off to reveal myself. Very silly. I can already see the super cliche scene in the show where this comes from. I can already see it playing in my head. It's like, Riri, I took your suit. She's like, who are you? Done. No! The guy who was obviously evil and paying me to make a weapon is taking the weapon? What? Alright, let's go.
You've bitten off a hell of a lot more than you can chew. I could chew a lot.
I wish they added some color to the suit. Gotta be honest. Like, visually, the suit looks kind of interesting. Like I said, I'm into the idea of mech battles in general. Doesn't have to be related to Iron Man, but, you know, it's Disney Plus, and it's a Marvel show, and that's just what they did. But yeah, I'm into the idea of mech battles in general, and it doesn't look terrible. I don't think so, anyway. I'm sure somebody else would say, oh, it is terrible, it's awful, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's, you know, whatever, your own opinion. I think this looks fine, but there's no real color to it. We got silver, gold, and then, like, a little bit of blue. I think it needs, like, a paint job or something. It needs something. Right now, it doesn't look iconic. And Riri wants it to look iconic, guys. So we gotta do some work here.
You know nothing about this man.
You're gonna end up dead or in jail.
He's wearing the hood while he shoots at her. I don't know what's going on with the
You're
tattoos.
gonna end up dead.
He's wearing the hood when he shoots at her. This, just in case you didn't know, the obviously evil guy is evil. Don't worry, we put a hood on him. We got it. This is too funny. Who is this person supposed to be? Does anyone know who the villain is supposed to be? Is it a character from the comic books? Or is this a brand new character that they made for the show? He's the Hood? Really? God damn. Well, fuck! That makes sense why they need to put a hood on him. Otherwise, I still didn't know. Even putting a hood on him, I had no fucking clue that was supposed to be the Hood. That's hilarious. Oh my god. What are you doing, Marvel? Oh, whatever. Okay. This answers a lot of questions. Oh, okay. Alright. 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 I got it. Got it. I thought it was just because they wanted him to be dramatic and evil. Oh, almost done the trailer. Almost done.
Or in jail.
This is so much bigger than that.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That looks bad. The running and then the suit catching you and you're doing this while the suit is being put on. I don't like that. That looks so...
This is so much bigger than that.
It's like, I can imagine somebody thinking that this is a good idea, but I actually don't like the idea of the suit just being able to be called to you at any becky moment. Because, like, I think it's more interesting if you're attacked and you don't have the suit and you're vulnerable. If you can just call the suit wherever you are, then you miss out on the opportunity for the character to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like in this instance. She's about to be run over by this truck here, but it doesn't matter because she can just call the suit and now she has the advantage over the truck. And that's it. So why should I ever be scared about her being vulnerable? She can just call the suit. You know, I like the idea of a mech suit being like hidden away in a backpack or something that you're always taking with you, so that you can, you know, bring it out when you need it. But I'm not into this. I'm not into, oh, let me just Wi-Fi my fucking suit over here. Teehee. Gotcha. That's all she needs. She brings the suit over, and then she wins. It's an instant win. So she's never going to be vulnerable. As soon as she gets the suit, she's going to be just unstoppable.
This is
Cool
wild.
shot of her.
A shady bunker.
My bunker's not shady. Would a shady bunker have that on the walls?
It's literally above a crate of self-guided missiles.
I see what they're trying to do with this scene. I noticed, hang on. Let's see if I can...
This is wild. A shady bunker.
You see, I noticed the Live, Laugh, Love sign over there before I noticed the neon sign one, because the neon sign was a little bit blurry. There's a blue Live, Laugh, Love sign in the background. Right, oh, sorry, I'm gonna zoom in. Right there. So he has two Live, Laugh, Love signs, which makes me think, the directors or whoever could not figure out which one they wanted him to point to, like which one would be funnier, and in the end they decided, oh, the neon sign one is funnier than the blue one. I think they're both not as funny as they could be. Gotta be honest, both signs, nah, neither of them are really that funny. I think the more girly and generic the sign is, the more funny this would be. And the fact that he also has two of them in the bunker, is also kind of strange. You know what I mean? So I see what they're trying to do with this joke. It's just not quite hitting. There could be something there if there was just a little bit more direction.
Bunker.
My bunker's not shady. Would a shady bunker have that on the walls?
It's literally above a crate of self-guided missiles.
I'm returning those.
Yeah, it's just that's a shame because like I could imagine you adding in some sort of joke about a live laugh love sign because it is a very goofy sign that so many white chicks have hanging on their walls, right? Maybe if he was a white chick, this scene would be significantly funnier, but he's a guy. It doesn't even make sense that he would have those signs to begin with. I don't, there's just so many elements to it that's just not working. But there was an idea there, I'll give him that. There was an idea as far as a joke goes. So that's it. That's the entire Ironheart trailer. Yeah, overall thoughts, I'm not expecting it to be particularly good. Call me crazy, but I'm not really expecting it to be particularly good. And mostly because a lot of the Disney Plus shows have not been good. Like, a lot of the spin-off Disney Plus Marvel shows have just not been very good. That's just the reality of the situation. So I have no reason to believe that this one is going to be the one. Even more so, this character has a very complicated history in the comic books. And it doesn't seem like they're really trying to make significant enough changes to fix the character in the show. We're being introduced to her obviously working for the shady, the Hood, who I didn't realize was the Hood. Being introduced to her working for him, and being very arrogant, obviously a character flaw that needs to be beaten out of her. But I don't know if the show is really going to do what it needs to do to make the character redeemed or interesting. But let me get some of your thoughts here now that we're done. This is a show, right? Not a movie? Yes, I'm pretty sure. Marvel Television's Ironheart. Yep, Disney Plus show. They've had a bunch of Disney Plus shows for a lot of these Marvel spin-offs. Yeah, I haven't watched any Marvel shows yet. Might give this one and Miss Marvel a shot just to see what they were thinking. I heard that the Miss Marvel show is not that bad, but I haven't seen it, so I can't verify. I do know that they changed her powers and backstory for the show, and the way that they changed it made more sense. So I think that was actually kind of a positive spin on the character, even if the show itself is kind of generic or bad or whatever. At least they made changes in the right direction. This one, I'm not really sure if these are changes in the right direction. Yeah, someone funny could have made it funny. Yes, correct. Let's see. I still want to know why they didn't make a movie about Iron Man's daughter. She's literally shown to play with the helmet in Endgame. That would have been super interesting. Yeah, not sure how they decide upon these things. But there are theories how they do that. Let's see. Yeah, what guy willingly puts that sign in his room, man cave, hideout, etc.? Yeah, that's kind of the weird part, isn't it? He's not, that's a stereotypical white girl thing to put up in their house. Why is a guy putting it up in his bunker? It's very strange. If he was a white girl, it'd be kind of funny, right? The white girl who just so happens to have a bunker full of missiles, still, even in a bunker full of missiles, she still puts up the live, laugh, love signs and has like it all girly and decorated. That would be funny. That would be funny. But it doesn't make sense because he's a guy. And I assume maybe that's a writing decision because they want to make the guy characters a little bit more feminized. Not 100% sure, but that is a thing that people like to do. They're like, oh, it's a subversion because you're not expecting a guy to act like a girl. It's like, yeah, you're right. We're not expecting that because that's not reality. Good job. You really subverted that. So stupid. I don't like the suit. They also need to stop ripping off the Ava shoulder pads. Well, I like the shoulder pads, but I see what you mean. Yeah. We do need more creative mech designs. I'm terrible with mech stuff. I very rarely ever try to do anything mechanized, but you know, they could theoretically make her better. This does not appear to be doing that though. Yeah, does kind of seem like it. I expect this to be a dumpster fire. The best way to do it is to have the new character have a significant relationship with the OG. Well, if you're going to specifically make it related to the original character, then yes, you're correct. The best way to do it would be to have there be some sort of reason why it's kind of a knockoff of the Iron Man suit. Like, you know, it's a little bit strange otherwise. She's like, oh, I'm gonna do something unique and iconic. I'm gonna make a mech suit and I'm gonna fight in it. Everyone's just like, everyone turns to look at her like, you mean like Iron Man? The guy who saved the world like a couple days ago? You know, it's not as unique as, yeah. It's so funny how they changed Miss Marvel because it was such an improvement. It was actually. That's like, you know, there are rare instances where TV shows and movies change something from the original source material and it's actually a good change. Obviously, maybe that's not the majority of the time, but when it does happen, I think it's worth recognizing that it's a positive change so that people understand that it's not black and white. There are good changes and there are bad changes. And there are people who have different opinions on what is a good change and what is a bad change. But I think it's worth, like, mentioning. Let's see. What else? Yeah, she stole Tony's armor designs in the comics. Yeah. She made her first suit out of stolen parts, was the original backstory for her. And it's really strange what her motivation was in the original comics. Her original motivation is that she just wants to achieve something that people don't. And so she, like, convinces her teacher to tell her that she'll never be Iron Man. And even the teacher doesn't really believe that. She just wants to struggle against something. She thinks it's a more interesting story, but it's very vain, you know? It makes the character herself seem kind of psychotic. Not gonna lie. I think they tried to redo her backstory in the later Ironheart comics, but that was a really terrible intro to her, and I think most people still remember that original intro because it was iconically bad, right? It's very strange to give her that kind of motivation to want to achieve something that nobody believes she can achieve. Strange. Yeah. Oh, they went out of the way to say it's not a passing of the mantle. Riri's supposed to be making her own legacy, but that's not how it looks. Yeah, you know, if she is supposed to be creating her own legacy, you would think that she would try to not make the suit look like Iron Man's or act like Iron Man's in any way. Like, imagine if she's like, I want to create my own legacy, and she makes a giant mech instead of just like a tiny suit like Iron Man's. Like, imagine she actually makes a fucking huge Gundam instead, and she's like, my mech is bigger than Tony's, I win, I'm different, or something like that, right? It would be interesting. It wouldn't fix anything, right? But at least it would be more interesting. At least I can say that much. Yeah, or have iron in the name, right. I like the name Ironheart, I'll say that much. I think it's kind of a cool name. It's Ironheart, like, that's, it's German, actually. There's a German name, Ironheart, right? Yeah, I think, or Eisenhart? There might be multiple of them, right? But there's a well-known German name that means Ironheart. Like, that's not bad. But if you're going to say, I'm nothing, I have no relationship to Iron Man, we're not connected at all, then you can't make a spin-off Iron Man suit, and you can't use a spin-off Iron Man name. That's confusing. This is contradicting. You're saying that you're not related to this other character, you have no relationship with them, and you don't want to be associated with them, and yet all of your actions contradict that. But you know how it is. That is par for the course. For Marvel Plus shows. And Tony actually already built 2 giant robots. One to fight Godzilla and the other to fight the Phoenix Force. Oh, shucks. Well, too bad, Riri. But I mean, like, in the MCU specifically. If they wanted to, like, try to do something different with her. I guess they didn't, though. I guess they didn't really want to do anything that different. But yeah. It's one thing to not want the path of least resistance, quite another to want to see yourself as oppressed in the process. Yeah, that is the weird thing. That's the weird thing with her motivation in the original comics. I think they tried to change it later. There was some other run that I think most people say is the better run of Ironheart, but it still has different problems in of itself. But yeah, you know, that's the issue. Anyway, back to shilling, because we actually spent a lot of time talking about this trailer. I think we talked about, like, I think we covered just about everything about the trailer and about the character. I think we got a lot of ground, you know? So, wasn't a waste of time anyways. But yeah, if you don't know already, if you're new to the channel, if you're still on the fence about this grand decision that I display before you now, I am doing a comic series that is a dark fantasy adventure involving Ichabod, who is cursed by a revenant's sword. And in book 2 that I am currently crowdfunding right now, he's going to go on an adventure to remove his curse, hopefully, accepting help from another cursed stranger. It's going to be a fun comic, I assure you this much. I've been having a lot of fun putting it together. The Kickstarter is almost done though, so you really gotta act fast before we close this out, because after this Kickstarter is over and done with, the only place you'll be able to get it is going to be on Fund My Comic, which is another crowdfunding website specifically dedicated to comics, in case you couldn't tell by the title. But yeah, just 7 more days to go to get your copy on Kickstarter. I've been doing some hard work on book 2 right now. I'm almost done the first chapter, which is really technically chapter 7, because it's picking up after the first volume, which ended in 6 chapters. It's going to be a long read. It's going to be a grand total of like 200 pages. So it's going to take a while to finish it up, as you can imagine. But I expect to be done everything by the end of the year. obviously, in the meantime, I'm going to be posting updates, chapter per chapter updates, as I'm finishing up each chapter to the subscribe star, which many of you might not even know exists, because I don't really plug it that often. Usually, you know, at the end of my videos, I say shout out to the fan club, and I list all the subscribe star subscribers. But if you don't know about it, I have a subscribe star. It's in the description below. And essentially, a lot of what gets posted on the subscribe star is my comic-related stuff, posts of different concepts, maybe unused concepts, and of course, stories that I've done get posted on there, and you get access to all the comics I've done through the first reader tier. And Reaper, as each chapter is done, the chapters are posted early on the subscribe star so you can read them early. If you wanted to do that, you can be reading Reaper early as I'm finishing up the book, and maybe that's something you want to do. As you're waiting for your physical copy, you can just be reading it digitally on the subscribe star. Sounds like a good idea to me. I don't know. I'm hoping to get at least one chapter done every month, but it's probably going to be like one chapter done every like month and a half, you know, depending on how the workflow is going right now. But I will have chapter 7 done and on the subscribe star this upcoming week for sure. I just have a little bit more work to do, and then boop, it's going to be on there. It's going to be on there. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best. The best continuation of the best series evers. Alright, let me look back at the comments. Oh yeah, a good 40 minutes was dedicated to it. There was a lot to cover. There was a lot to cover about the trailer and the character itself. I think there's a lot to cover to talk about her. Because like I said, it's not a bad concept to have teenager fighting in a mech. They're just not doing it right. They just keep on flubbing this concept. What can I say? It's like they want to make Riri a shonen pro tag where her motivation is to be the #1 or be the best, but most shonen pro tags go through plenty of pain and loss to get as strong as they do. Yeah, well, I don't even think it's that, right? Because the way that they portray her in the trailer, at least, is that she's already great. She's already special, and the problem is she's not being recognized for being special. It's like the whole Mulan thing where like her only flaw is that she doesn't use all her power, or that nobody recognizes how super awesome she really is, right? It's that. Shonen pro tags, they need to work harder, and it's all about their journey to become special, to become super powerful. I think with Riri, the problem is she's already super special and powerful, but nobody recognizes it, and that's what drives her nuts. That's what she wants. She wants people to acknowledge her. It's not really about her becoming stronger, exactly. That's also the problem. I think that's also why people are not connecting to the character, especially with this first trailer, which got an awful lot of dislikes. But, you know. Dan Star, yeah, I guess so. They just execute that idea in a couple of bad ways. Vain personality, the way she gets the suit, the struggle, etc. Yeah. That really what it is. I'll say it again, if you want recognition, you earn recognition. Damn straight. Some people gotta learn. They gotta learn. You know? I don't think it's like the worst motivation to want recognition and to go to like do bad things in order to get recognition because you're so obsessed with this idea of just somebody recognizing you, somebody giving you some validation. I don't think that's bad, but I do think it is a motivation for a villain. That is a very villainous motivation. So it doesn't, you know, when I hear about it, it doesn't strike me as like something that a trait that you would want to give to your hero, you know, I'm just repeating things that we're all looking at each other and nodding like, yeah, we know. Yeah, we know how this is. Comic Riri is rebel without a cause. She wants to rebel on something. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's a good way of putting it. Shonen pro tags are always super duper extra special from the get-go. All the my struggle and hard work is just flimsy paint job. I don't agree. I don't agree with that necessarily. I guess it depends on the shonen, because obviously there are some shonen stories where it kind of plays on this chosen one type of trope where they're already super powerful, they just need to learn how to control their powers or something like that. Even the whole learning how to control your powers, it still kind of requires a certain amount of struggle and training to that point. But there's I think there's more shonen stories that are the opposite, where you start off super weak and then you become powerful with each arc, learning something new and different. I guess it depends on like what types of shonen you're reading that would change your perspective on what you think most shonen is. Why don't modern writers know how to write character arcs? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there's a bunch of reasons why. The inspiration that they're pulling from, it's like this vicious cycle. If you grow up watching and reading comics or shows that are this, then that's the only inspiration that you get, and that's how you think the story is supposed to be written. That's how you think, what you think makes a good story. And then there's this vicious cycle of just like bad writers being inspired by bad writers being inspired by bad writers, etc., etc. There's also just people who go to these writing classes that are given very bad advice. And Adam witnessed this firsthand. I did not go to college for writing by any means. Adam did, though. And I can confidently say that what he learned in college for writing probably would have set him back more than it would have helped him. Because a lot of what they talk about in college for writing, it's about political messaging first and foremost, and seeing tropes in writing is a very big thing. Like criticizing something for doing something similar to something else, which is not really that productive. The critique should be if you're doing it bad and not if you're doing it similarly. Because that's, it's not actually helpful. It's not helpful critique. It's just, I'm going to shame you for having been inspired by something else. Have you seen Jester Bell's video regarding the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy ship? People are calling her a right-wing grifter for some reason. I don't really watch Jester Bell's videos, but I could always check it out. If it's a good video that you're recommending, then certainly I could take a look-see. Alright. I do gotta say, we're a little bit over. We're a little bit over the allotted time slot, and I do have stuff to do. So, I'm going to call Friday with Dannphan here, but I think this has been a good stream. I think we've had a lot of productive and interesting conversations, and I think you should back the Reaper campaign before it closes out. That's what I think. Yeah. So thanks for joining me for the Ironheart trailer reaction. Thanks for talking with me about like all these different things. Thanks for backing my comic, which you definitely already did because you're awesome. And I will see you on the next stream. I'll try to get a new video out sometime soon. just hang in there, kitty. And yeah, I guess that's all I got to say. So good night, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye, everybody.